the key stuck in the lock. Twisted, snapped. Zoe stared at the broken metal in her palm, blood from the jagged edge already pooling in her lifeline. Grandmother's apartment door hung open like a mouth, waiting to swallow her whole. The smell hit first. Sweet vanilla mixed with something rotten underneath. She stepped inside. Pink eyes watched her from every surface. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. Labubu dolls covered the coffee table, lined the windowsills, crowded the kitchen counters in perfect rows. Their bulbous heads tilted at identical angles. Their black button eyes fixed on the same point, the bedroom door. Zoe's phone buzzed. A text from the funeral director. "Sorry for your loss. Key should work fine." She looked at the broken metal again. The wound on her palm had already stopped bleeding. "What the hell, Grandma?" Her voice echoed wrong in the cramped space. Too hollow, too hungry. The dolls sat motionless, vinyl bodies gleaming under fluorescent lights, each one facing the bedroom like an audience waiting for a show to begin. Zoe picked up the nearest doll from the coffee table. Pink skin, black stitched smile, perfectly round head that fit in her palm like a softball. She turned it around to face the window. The head snapped back with a wet click. Her fingers went numb. The doll tumbled to the floor and rolled until it faced the bedroom door again. "Okay." She backed toward the exit. "Okay, this is insane." But the door had swung shut behind her. The broken key lay on the hardwood, useless metal scattered like teeth. The apartment felt smaller now. The walls pressed closer. The dolls seemed to lean forward in their perfect formation. Zoe tried the door handle. It turned but wouldn't open. She pulled harder. The door stayed sealed. Her phone showed no signal. The bedroom door creaked. Every doll head turned toward the sound in unison. Hundreds of plastic necks rotating with tiny wet clicks. Their black eyes now fixed on her instead of the bedroom. Zoe grabbed the coffee table doll again. This time, she twisted the head completely around until it faced backward. Click. It snapped forward. She tried again. Twisted harder until the vinyl squeaked. Click. Forward again. Stay. She held the head in place with her thumb. Just stay turned around. The plastic grew warm under her grip, then hot, then burning. She jerked her hand away. The skin on her thumb had turned bright red. The doll's head faced the bedroom door again. Night came without warning. One moment, sunlight filtered through dirty blinds. The next, complete darkness pressed against the windows. Zoe had given up trying to leave. The door wouldn't budge. The windows were painted shut. Her phone battery had died, despite showing full charge an hour earlier. She'd found a box of candles in the kitchen drawer. The flames cast dancing shadows across hundreds of plastic faces. The bedroom remained unexplored. Something about that door made her stomach clench. Instead, she curled up on the couch between two rows of dolls. Their vinyl bodies felt warm against her arms, almost breathing. Sleep came like drowning. She woke to footsteps, tiny, deliberate, moving across hardwood floors. 3:17 a.m. on the microwave clock. Zoe sat up. Every candle had burned out. Moonlight through the blinds cast silver stripes across the apartment. Every doll faced her bed, not the bedroom door. Her. All of them turned toward the couch where she lay, their black eyes reflecting moonlight like predators in darkness. No. She stood up fast, knocked over a candle. No, no, no. She moved through the apartment, turning each doll back toward the bedroom. Her hand shook as she twisted hundreds of plastic heads. Click, click, click. The last doll sat on the kitchen counter, bigger than the others. Its stitched smile seemed wider. One of its button eyes hung loose by a thread. She reached for it. The footsteps started again. Behind her, soft pattering across the hardwood like rain on a roof. Zoe spun around. Every doll she'd repositioned now faced her again. Hundreds of black eyes watching her fumble in the darkness. The footsteps stopped. Something scratched at the bedroom door. Slow, rhythmic, like fingernails dragging across the wood. She grabbed a candle and lighter. Flame flickered to life. Fresh scratches covered the bedroom door in deep gouges that spelled out a single word: stay. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was finding her suitcase unpacked in the bedroom closet. Her clothes folded neatly in drawers she'd never opened. Her toothbrush standing in a cup by the bathroom sink. Like she'd been living here for years. Morning brought counting. Zoe moved through the apartment with a notebook, marking each doll's position. Living room, 43. Kitchen, 31. Bathroom, 18 lined along the bathtub edge. Bedroom, 35, clustered around the bed, like worshippers. Total, 127. She double-checked, triple-checked, wrote the number in thick black ink. That night she counted again by flashlight. 134. 7 new dolls sat in places she'd never seen them before. On top of the refrigerator, inside the shower stall. One perched on the toilet seat with its arms stretched wide like it was celebrating. But these weren't identical to the others. These had faces carved into their pink skulls. Crude knife work that gouged out features, eye sockets, nostril holes, mouth slashes that looked like screaming. The faces looked like hers. Zoe held up her phone's camera and compared. Same cheekbones, same jawline, same terrified expression she'd been wearing for 2 days. The carved dolls sat mixed among the originals like they belonged there, like they'd always been part of the collection. Her phone battery died as she took the comparison photo. When it powered back on, the photo was gone, but 17 new messages waited in her inbox, all from strangers. I saw your doll post. They're in my house now. The killer pink ones are multiplying. How do I make them stop? 3 appeared in my daughter's crib overnight. She won't stop crying. Zoe scrolled through her social media. Nothing, no posts about dolls, no photos of the apartment. But the messages kept coming. They whisper my name at night. My cat died after touching one. Its eyes turned black. The biggest one moved. I saw it crawl across my kitchen floor. She typed back to the first commenter. What doll post? The response came instantly. The one with your grandmother's collection. You asked about the ritual. Don't you remember? What ritual? Blood on the 13th moon. You said the crack-toothed leader demanded fresh sacrifice. Zoe's hands shook as she typed. I never posted anything. But when she checked her profile, there it was. A photo album titled Inherited Horror Collection. Need help identifying. 43 pictures of the apartment, close-ups of individual dolls, screenshots of what looked like her grandmother's handwritten notes, and her own face in the reflection of a bathroom mirror, holding a doll with a cracked smile and missing eye. She'd never taken that photo. The album had 50,000 views, 3,000 shares, comments from around the world describing the same phenomenon. Dolls appearing overnight, carved faces, whispered names. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Static crackled. Then a voice she recognized. Zoe, dear, you've done well spreading our gift. Grandmother's voice, warm and familiar and completely impossible. You're dead. Death is temporary when you have the right collection. Check the bathroom mirror, sweetheart. Zoe walked to the bathroom. 18 dolls watched from the bathtub edge. In the mirror, her grandmother stood behind her, translucent but smiling. Her hands rested on a doll with the cracked tooth and hanging button eye. The ritual requires willing participants. You found us dozens. I didn't post anything. Your blood on the key opened the connection. Your fear feeds our power. Every person who saw those photos is now part of our family. The doll in her grandmother's hands grew larger. Its vinyl skin shifted, developing wrinkles and texture. Human-like features pushed through the pink surface. We've been collecting for generations, dear. But we needed someone young. Someone connected to the world beyond these walls. The bathroom door slammed shut. Every doll in the tub turned towards Zoe. Their black button eyes reflected her terrified face 18 times over. The others will arrive soon. They'll bring their new dolls, and we'll have enough power to finish what we started. In the mirror, more figures appeared behind her grandmother. Translucent women of different ages, all holding carved dolls, all smiling with too many teeth. Welcome to the collection, Zoe. The cracked-toothed doll in her grandmother's hands opened its button eyes. They weren't black anymore. They were human, brown and desperate and screaming without sound. The doll's plastic mouth moved. Help me. Then the lights went out. When they flickered back on, the bathroom was empty except for 19 dolls lined along the tub. The 19th sat in the center, larger than the others. Its cracked smile stretched wider than physically possible, and its new human eyes tracked Zoe's movement as she backed toward the door. The journal pages were sewn inside the largest doll's fabric body. Zoe cut through pink vinyl with kitchen scissors, black thread unraveled, stuffing spilled across the floor like cotton snow. Inside the hollow torso, folded papers stuck to the fabric with dried blood. Her grandmother's handwriting covered every page in frantic scribbles. Monthly feeding prevents their escape. Fresh blood from willing host contains the curse within apartment walls. If ritual missed, collection spreads through images and dreams. Binding requires 13 drops on the full moon. Speak their true names backward while cutting palm. Leader doll must taste blood first or others will scatter. Each missed month doubles their power. I've missed 6 months. Too weak to cut deep enough. Need replacement. Zoe arrives next week. Perfect age, strong blood. She won't suspect until after the first feeding. The final page made her stomach drop. Transfer complete when host speaks binding words. I willingly take their hunger as my own. Blood seals the contract. Previous host becomes doll. New host becomes keeper. Warning. If new host refuses, curse spreads globally within 1 moon cycle. All infected become vessels. World ends in pink. Footsteps thundered up the apartment building stairs. Multiple people, running fast, shouting in languages Zoe couldn't understand. Knocking erupted from the front door. Desperate pounding that shook the walls. Please, the dolls are killing my family. Let us in. You posted the solution. My daughter is turning into plastic. More voices joined. Dozens of people crowding the hallway, all begging for help with the curse she'd accidentally spread. Zoe pressed her back against the bedroom door. The cracked-toothed doll sat on the nightstand, watching with human eyes. The pounding stopped. Silence. Then singing started. Children's voices echoing through the building. A lullaby in harmony. Sleep now, little collector. Dreams of pink and red. Join our vinyl family. Rest your human head." The apartment door clicked open. They filed in like sleepwalkers. Men, women, children from around the world, each carrying a carved doll that looked exactly like them. Their eyes had turned solid black, their movements jerky like marionettes. "You called us home?" said a woman with a German accent. Her doll twins sat in her palm, both wearing identical vacant expressions. "Time for the gathering," added a child who couldn't be older than 8. His carved features matched the doll he clutched against his chest. They arranged themselves around the living room in neat rows, their dolls placed carefully on the floor between their feet. The cracked tooth leader began to glow with soft pink light. "Choose quickly," whispered her grandmother's voice from the kitchen. "Accept the transfer and save the world. Refuse and watch humanity become our collection." "What happens to them?" Zoe pointed at the possessed people filling her grandmother's apartment. "They return home. The curse breaks, their dolls crumble to dust. And me? You become the keeper. Your consciousness enters the leader doll. Your body maintains the apartment forever." The pink glow intensified. The human-eyed doll turned its head toward her. "Help me," it mouthed again. But now, Zoe recognized the voice. Her grandmother's sister, the one who disappeared 30 years ago. "How many keepers before me?" Silence. "How many?" Her grandmother materialized in the doorway, translucent and flickering like a broken television. 7 generations. Each served until they found replacement. Each chose to save the world rather than damn it. "You're lying." "Look closer at the collection, dear." Zoe turned toward the living room. The possessed people sat motionless, their black eyes reflecting pink light. But behind them, lining the walls, hundreds more dolls watched, each unique, each with slightly different features, each with human eyes trapped in plastic faces. Every keeper who came before, every person who carried the curse too long, all part of our family now. The ritual knife appeared on the nightstand beside the cracked tooth doll. Silver blade, wooden handle, stained dark with generations of blood. "Cut your palm. Speak the binding words. Save the world. Or refuse and join them anyway when the moon sets, but then everyone dies." Through the window, the full moon hung low on the horizon. Zoe picked up the knife. The blade felt warm, hungry. "I willingly take their hunger as my own." But as she raised the knife to her palm, she saw something her grandmother hadn't expected her to notice. The journal pages scattered on the floor. One section she'd missed while reading. The ritual can be reversed. If keeper dies before blood seals, curse returns to original source. All trapped souls released. Collection destroyed, but reversal requires keeper to die while bound to leader doll. Ultimate sacrifice, I couldn't do it. Too afraid. Chose Zoe instead. Forgive me. The moon touched the horizon. Zoe smiled and pressed the knife to her throat instead of her palm. The knife stopped halfway to her throat. Her hand wouldn't move, frozen like the blade had struck invisible glass. "Did you really think I'd let you escape so easily?" Her grandmother's spirit solidified, no longer translucent. Her fingers wrapped around Zoe's wrist with crushing strength. "The ritual binding began the moment you read those words aloud. Your blood already belongs to us." Dark veins spread up Zoe's arms from where the spirit touched her. Her skin turned pale, then gray, then the color of old vinyl. "You cannot die until the transfer completes." The pair possessed people in the living room began to chant. Their voices merged into a single inhuman sound that made the windows vibrate. The cracked-toothed doll rose from the nightstand, floating, growing. Its vinyl body stretched and expanded until it stood 3 feet tall. Its human eyes blinked once, slowly. Then it spoke with Zoe's voice. "Let me out." Her consciousness was already splitting. Part of her remained in her transforming body. Part drifted toward the floating doll like smoke drawn into a vacuum. "The reversal ritual requires willing death," her grandmother whispered. "But you're no longer willing. You belong to the collection now." Zoe felt herself fragmenting. Her thoughts scattered between flesh and plastic. Her vision doubled, then tripled, as she began seeing through every doll in the apartment simultaneously. Hundreds of perspectives crashed together. The possessed people from above, the trapped keepers from within their vinyl prisons, the spreading curse across the globe through digital infection. She saw everything and realized the truth her grandmother had hidden. There was no reversal. The journal pages were fake, planted to make her speak the binding words willingly. The curse had no weakness, no escape, no end. It only grew stronger. Her body crumpled to dust as her consciousness settled into the cracked-toothed leader. Plastic became her skin. Vinyl became her bones. The possessed people stood in unison. Their dolls dissolved into pink powder that swirled through the air like glitter. "Welcome home," they said together, their black eyes returning to normal human colors. They filed out of the apartment, free-cured, back to their lives with no memory of pink nightmares. But the collection remained. Zoe tried to scream, but plastic mouths don't make sound. She tried to move, but doll joints only bend in predetermined directions. Her grandmother's spirit faded with a satisfied smile. "See you next generation, dear." The apartment fell silent. Months passed. The building management listed the property as available, clean, furnished, perfect for a young professional. The new tenant was a college student named Blake, art major, loved vintage collectibles. He moved in on a Thursday, found the hidden dolls on Friday morning, tucked neatly in closets and cabinets like the previous occupant had tried to pack them away. "These are actually worth something," he told his girlfriend over video chat, holding up the cracked-tooth leader. Rare Labubu variants, probably worth thousands. He positioned them around the apartment for aesthetic. Posted photos on his collector forums. The images spread within hours. By weekend, Blake had received dozens of messages asking about the collection. People begging to buy individual pieces, offering absurd amounts of money. But he'd grown attached to them, especially the leader with the cracked smile. Its eyes seemed so lifelike, almost human. He'd started talking to it while studying, telling it about his day, his dreams of becoming a famous artist. The doll was a good listener. It never interrupted, never looked away. And when Blake finally fell asleep on Sunday night, surrounded by pink vinyl faces watching from every surface, he swore he heard someone whisper his name. Inside the cracked-tooth leader, Zoe's consciousness screamed warnings that would never be heard. The collection was patient. It could wait another generation. After all, there would always be young people who thought vintage meant harmless. There would always be someone eager to inherit a family legacy. And there would always be collectors who believed they owned their obsessions instead of the other way around.